Okay, will our members and guests please be seated? We're about to start. Good evening. My name is Alexis Folgaris, the RTM moderator. As all members have received a copy of the call for tonight's reading, the meeting of the call shall be omitted. This is the last meeting of our term, and it's always quite special because we take some time to recognize our longest serving members who are retiring. So this evening, I am honored to welcome, we're going to go farthest to closest, Louisa Stone, who began her service in 1972. Lucy Krasnor, who joined us in 1980. And Carol Ducre, who joined us in 1995. So these three young ladies have well over 100 years of combined experience. And so I invite them this evening to lead us in the pledge.
Should we start?
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So now comes the fun part. So first of all, I wanted you to be up here so that everyone can see you and you can see everyone else, because I think all of your years of service is quite remarkable and you deserve to be, front and center. Okay, so I am going to ask Brooks Harris. Where is Mr. Harris? He is going to lead us off with a tribute to Louisa. Brooks is the chair of District 10. And you can work off of this one.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Louisa Stone is one of Greenwich's quiet giants. This is her last RTM meeting as a member, so District 10 wants to honor her contributions to our community. Louisa started her service in the RTM in 1972 and has been in public servant in Greenwich for 53 years. After her initial service on the RTM, Louisa spent 2 decades serving on planning and zoning, including 4 years as chair, before returning to the RTM to serve 10 more terms. Louisa has been a guardian of what makes this town special: its open spaces, its historic character, its thoughtful growth. She helped launch the Greenwich Land Trust and served on the Audubon Board. Louisa had a major role in updating and modernizing our plan of conservation and development, and ideas inserted under her stewardship can still be found there today. Following passage of 830G in 1989, Louisa advocated for ways Greenwich could meet the demands of greater housing diversity while still safeguarding the beauty and balance that defines us. Following her experience on planning and zoning, Louisa championed issues in the RTM that reflected her passion to protect the character of our town. She served on the Land Use Committee and was proud of her work protecting Greenwich Avenue. She was a passionate believer in the RTM as a nonpartisan body, with people on all sides of the spectrum gathering to advocate what is best for all residents. Louisa often spoke softly and emoted empathy, but her quiet approach belied her fierce advocacy. When she disagreed with you, she did not hesitate to dismantle a flawed plan or a shaky argument, but you never took it personally. The ability to disagree without being disagreeable was a hallmark of Louisa's service. Louisa, you have helped shape Greenwich, the Greenwich we love, in ways that will outlast all of us. Every preserved meadow, every protected streetscape, every civil and productive public meeting is part of your legacy. District 10, the RTM, and this entire town owe you a great debt. We will miss your presence at the table, but we will feel your influence in every wise choice we make for decades to come. Thank you, Louisa. You made Greenwich better, and you did it all with unmistakable grace. Thank you.
So I would like to give you these, Louisa, which are some flowers and a nice bottle of champagne that you can have with your family at the holiday. So I have stories about each of you. My favorite Louisa story is years ago, she was advocating for a Northwest Firehouse, an ongoing topic for those of you who live in the Northwest section of town. And I was sitting, because I was chair of HHS, so I was sitting on the side, and I got in early, and I see these giant charrettes, these giant poster boards sort of going down the side aisle. And I couldn't see Louisa behind it. I saw a little tuft of hair and some legs sort of moving these boards down. And she had set up this entire display and presentation with the large poster boards. And in her quiet way, just got up and explained why we needed a Northwest Firehouse. That hasn't happened yet, but I'm hopeful that it could. But it was just the image of, you marching down with all of your very large boards that completely blocked you. And I thank you for everything that you've ever done for the RTM. Okay. Next up is Lucy Krasnor, and we have Tom Broadhurst. Mr. Broadhurst is over there. And he is the chairman of District 5, which is Lucy's home district.
When Lucy told me that she wasn't going to run again, I encouraged her to rethink her decision, but she was adamant. She said, "It's time." And then she asked me, "Are you going to make some remarks?" And I might. And she goes, "No." And I say, "Well, Lucy," she goes, "I'll send you something." So these are my remarks. Sorry, just throwing you under the bus. In 1978, Lucy Krasnor was Ruth Sims' campaign scheduler. Many of you may not remember, but Ruth Sims was the first woman to become first selectman in Greenwich. This is relevant because Lucy's friend, Sue Cohen, suggested that she run for the RTM as a write-in candidate. That year, there were fewer candidates running in District 5 for the positions available. Lucy stood 75 feet from the door and gave out postcards outlining her abilities and past employment history, and she won a seat on the RTM. Lucy was the first woman trust officer managing pension trusts at Bankers Trust Company in New York, now Deutsche Bank. Bob and Lucy moved to Riverside in 1973, right after her son Bill was born. Lucy has loved being on the RTM and has always said that serving on the RTM was the only way to know what is going on in town. For many years, Lucy served on the Appointments Committee. She was vice chairman of that committee for a few years and then gave up her seat to new members as she briefly became chair of District 5. She also served on the Community Development Block Grant Committee for a number of years. Prior to COVID, when one could rise spontaneously and be called on in the RTM to make a comment, Lucy was recognized frequently by Tom Byrne to rise and make her points. She was never verbose and never had 12 pages of notes to go through, but rather she spoke succinctly and often swayed the body to vote on her side of an issue. Lucy, at Tom Byrne's request, served on a special committee to review the rules of the RTM. Lucy has been on the RTM for 45 years, and this year she chose not to run again. Her comments to the district and to the whole RTM will be missed, as will her presence, her wisdom, and her kindness. Thank you, Lucy. One more thing. It was mentioned to the first selectman that Lucy was retiring after 45 years, and so I have this to say. Proclamation. Whereas Lucy Krasnor has been a proud and civic-minded resident of the town of Greenwich in the neighborhood of Riverside since 1973, and whereas she has been a member of the RTM from District 5 for 46 years, serving with distinction on this body and taking an active role in working to make the town a better place for not just the members of her district, but town residents as a whole. And whereas during her decades on the RTM, Lucy has served in a variety of roles, including in leadership as chair of District 5 and as vice chair of the Appointments Committee, and has been a vocal member of the body, never shying away from telling people what she thinks and advocating for her positions. And whereas now that she is taking a break from community service as a volunteer member of the RTM, her colleagues in District 5 wish to acknowledge her contributions and dedication to District 5, the RTM, and the town, and thank her for all she has given Greenwich through all the years she has volunteered. Now, therefore, I, not me, Fred Camillo, first selectman of the town of Greenwich, do hereby proclaim December 10th, 2025 as Lucy Krasnor Day.
Thanks, Tom. So I did not know that in your own written remarks about yourself that you were going to comment about how you would often get up and raise a point of information or a point of order, because one of my favorite stories about you is when many years ago when we were doing the public safety complex, there was some question about the medallions. Do you remember this? There was there were some medallions that are on the edifice of the public safety complex. And a member was basically saying, we have to preserve them. They are practically like a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I mean, it was the most bizarre reason to not move forward with the building. And Lucy got up and she raised her hand and she's like, I've lived here, I don't know how many years, at least 40 years. And she's like, I'm familiar with architecture and art, and this is not a cultural touchstone. We can certainly get rid of these medallions. And I think we have. I mean, we were very successful in getting a new police safety complex or a public safety complex. So I've always appreciated the way you stood up and said what you wanted to say. So congratulations on many, many, many decades of service, Lucy. And last but certainly not least, we have Carol Ducray, who has served since 1995 from my district, District 6. And we have Colleen Jenkins, Chair of District 6, who's going to offer her comments.
Good evening. I did not get notes from Carol. I had a lovely cup of coffee with her, and that's the basis of many of my comments. Carol Caruso Ducray was born in Greenwich and attended Greenwich Public Schools. Later, she attended the University of Connecticut and University of Bridgeport, where she earned a Bachelor of Science degree in business education. With this degree, she taught adult education in Greenwich. With her Swiss husband, Carol co-managed a successful manufacturing business based on his invention, a tool for electricians. For decades, Carol supported her town party by sustaining the party, organizing a women's group, and bringing forth candidates for public service. For 30 years, Carol has served in the representative town meeting in Old Greenwich. A high point of her work was as the RTM liaison to the First Selectmen's Committee on Parking and Traffic. That was a 10-year commitment. Carol is a staunch supporter of public education, as you can already tell, including teaching and school building. Her top priority was seeing the renovation of Old Greenwich School, which is over to 120 years old. The beauty is that her hope is becoming a reality today, and her daughter, who is here, I believe, is a kindergartner teacher there, and she will soon welcome children to the new classrooms. Carol's RTM career started when Hal Park noticed, "You're interested in the town of Greenwich. The RTM is the perfect place to start and get involved." Carol prides herself as a representative who is receptive to all voices and opinions. Carol is deeply appreciative of the friends and colleagues she has made while serving the town of Greenwich. Thank you for your service.
So my story about Carol's a little bit more personal. When I first joined District 6, Arlene Lamazzo, who many of you know and worked with, was a wonderful friend, neighbor, and mentor of mine. And she used to love to go out to coffee, no matter how late the meeting got out, which was astonishing that I didn't even know places in Greenwich were open at like 11, 12 o'clock at night. And her little group that she would go out with, that they invited me and included me in, was Arlene Lamazzo, Carol Ducre, Bob Tuthill, and Dean Goss Sr., and me. So I brought, it was a strange group with me in there. And the meeting would end at like 11 o'clock at night, and we'd go to Athens Pizza sometimes, McDonald's. God help me that I went into a fast food chain. But I mean, it was, they knew where every cafe was or diner was or something, and they would just go on. And I thought it was so lovely that not only did you include me, but it really showed that you had a lovely group of friends that you all met, different districts from the RTM, and what a nice thing as a new member to look forward to. So I thank you for including me all those years ago. And we have more. We have Hector Arzeno, our state representative, who has something for you. And Tina Corpus. Sorry.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Hi, everyone, ladies. It is an honor for the Greenwich delegation to Hartford, Senator Ryan Fascio and Representatives Stephen Meskers. Neither one could be here today due to other commitments. Representative Corpus, Tina Corpus, and myself to present to Lucy, Luisa, and Carol with an official citation from the State of Connecticut General Assembly in recognition of your dedicated years of service in the RTM to the town of Greenwich. But what we should be thankful for? Well, we all should be thankful for the rich legacy that you all are leaving us after decades of service in the RTM. You show us how to be a good civil servant. We all learn from you the meaning of civility. You show discipline and commitment for the selfless need to deliver for Greenwich. You have the proven integrity and tested character, and you know how to reach out and to listen. And to all of the new elected members and the ones that are being reelected, we encourage them to reflect in the great legacy that the three of you are leaving behind. They would be deeply missing next year. Thank you for your dedication to the town of Greenwich. Come on, let's do it. Thank you.
So I would like to thank everybody who helped make this possible today for Louisa, Lucy, and Carol. And we wish you a tremendous amount of joy and happiness and good fortune and luck in retirement from the RTM. I hope you will come back and visit us or use the contact all 230 and let us know what we are or are not doing right. So we're not quite done. There are more tributes. So don't get, where is Joe Kelly? Good job. We have Joe Kelly and we have someone else who is very, very special among us, who is not retiring. But I do think that after 50 years of continuing service, Don Conway, please stand up. Come on up. Come on up, Mr. Conway. Come on. You can do it.
She's not gonna bite again.
Yeah. Come on. All right.
Come on, Don, you come around here, we'll get you.
We'll get you up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come on up here. Staircase is right over there. Okay, Don Conway is a very different individual than the three wonderful ladies we had just presented to you in those nice speeches. I had a few moments to speak to Don Conway, and I really wanted to know more about him. Now, I've known him for a few years. He's been very helpful, but he insisted I bring up a few things that I weren't sure whether appropriate or not, but you know what? Don wanted them. Excuse me. Don was first arrested for shooting out streetlights when he was 12 years old. He said to make sure we don't give the police credit because the 63 streetlights that he shot out were continuously along certain roads. So all the police had to do was follow the streetlights that were shot out. That changed Don's life tremendously. He moved on to serve in the military, in the Army Reserve for 6 years because he realized what a marksman he was. It's still unsure whether it was a court order that forced him to serve in the military or whether it was voluntary. I don't know. Not quite sure. He moved to Greenwich in 1971 on St. Patrick's Day. He thought it was a very important time to move here. He joined the RTM in 1976. I asked him which committees he's worked on. He says he doesn't remember, but a lot of them. He also said He said, I want to give you some serious advice. Never volunteer for anything. That's what he said. He had a very good career, or a successful career in publishing. He was a board, or is a board member for Call a Ride. He's been doing that for 12 years now. He drives cars or gives people rides to help them when they can't. He is a member of the Retired Men's Association. He's one of the Melody Men. I'm sure you've all heard him sing. He is the Irish tenor, if you listen up closely. He also has run the GCTV video at Town Hall for 20 years. He has run that. He's in that little room. He was married for 54 years. He has 3 daughters, and he loves his 5 grandchildren. And next year, he will be starting his 50th year in service of the Greenwich RTM. Thank you, Don. Excellent.
So I would like to thank you for everything you've done for the RTM, especially with your tremendous work with GCTV. If it weren't for Don and several of his colleagues, many of the meetings that we all enjoy would never be broadcast. So I thank you for that. And we have a citation from our state delegation for you as well. All right.
Citation is from the Connecticut General Assembly. I won't read the whole thing. It reiterates a lot of your accomplishments that Joe Kelly just described. But it does say, we proudly join your family, friends, and all who have been touched by your work in expressing our heartfelt gratitude for your distinguished and impactful service to the town of Greenwich, and is signed by Speaker Matt Ritter and President Pro Tempore of the Senate, Martin Looney. Thank you.
A fellow rifle.
Yeah.
No, I did it with the slingshot. Oh, no, I did it.
Come on.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Can you get down?
Yeah, yeah, thank
Can
you.
Hector? Okay, where's Josh Brown? There's Josh Brown. So Josh is leaving us after many, many decades to go to the BET. And I would like to thank him because he has been one of my favorite people to work with over the years, my partner in crime, certainly on the governance committee. And so I have something for you. When we set up the governance committee, we had the genius idea of creating a hotline that people could submit their comments to, what we presumed was governance. It actually turned out to be more of like a 311 or a complaint line for the whole town. And do you remember what we would do? We would go to, it was the drawing room, I think, and we'd ask for 1 piece of carrot cake with 2 spoons, and we would read things that were bizarre. Many of them had nothing to do with governance for the RTM, but there were a lot of very, very creative ideas about what should be done, particularly about like wildlife. It made Caddyshack look reasonable at some point. And so as we would eat this carrot cake, it became incredibly obvious that I was eating most of it because I'm like a anxiety eater. So I'd read this and eat more and more, and Josh would have virtually nothing left. And we'd always fight over that small sliver of cream cheese frosting. So for you, Mr. Brown, I have 1 gourmet piece of carrot cake, all for you. And I promise not to badger you about the cream cheese frosting. Okay, we have, hang on, more people to thank. Okay, if I can find. I would also like to thank some of the chairs who are leaving us. Allison Solar, who took over from me for HHS, is leaving us, and she has done a wonderful job on not only that committee, but on HHS, or on the RTM. So I thank you for all of your years of service. We have Dan Quigley, or who I like to refer to as Quiggles. Mostly because when I would talk with Dan, we would talk about baseball. He is a great baseball aficionado. He roots for the Mets. I root for the Red Sox. 1986 was a very painful year. And as a student of the game, you would also often commiserate with me that it was not Bill Buckner that was the problem. It was when they put in Bob Stanley as the relief pitcher that it all went sideways. And I will miss talking baseball with you. So I hope that we can continue. Pitchers and catchers report in 8 weeks. So I'm sure there will be lots to discuss in mid-February. But thank you for all your work on Land Use Committee. And then we have a few members moving up to the BET. We have Joe Kelly, who leaves us from District 2 as chair. We have Sally Bednar from District 6. We have Doug Fenton from District 5. And we have Josh Brown, who I already said is leaving us, and I'm very sad about over there. So I thank everyone who may not have been individually recognized for your service over this last term. It has been fantastic to meet so many of you, and I wish those of you who are retiring well, but I look forward to welcoming in the 67 new members who will be coming on board in January. So I would like to thank everyone who has dedicated time this term on the RTM for your service. So great job, everybody. Okay, so that concludes our honorariums this evening. We do have an announcement, though, from our soon-to-be departed Mr. Brown.
To your attention, those that are
Oh,
continuing, it's green. Okay. The Labor Contracts Committee is an important special committee of the body. I would like all of those that are continuing and those newly elected to consider participation in that committee. There are 2,400 employees. The town of Greenwich is a significant employer in the area. We do want to attract and retain the best, and employee costs contribute the most significant component of the annual budget. It includes salary and benefits, time off, health benefits, and retirement. The Labor Contracts Committee meets with the Board of Education Labor Negotiation periodically, also with the town's negotiator to discuss strategy, present ideas, and talk about what's best for the town and the employees. They're available to participate or observe in specific contract negotiation, depending on the invitation received, and examines and analyzes each proposed labor contract and advises the RTM on its desirability. There are 5 delegates and 2 alternates. So I do ask that you consider it. Some of the skills, if you have any background in human resources, labor contract negotiation, pension, benefit, retirement, and legal research and data analytics, covers a wide, breadth of skills and capabilities that bring a great discussion to the committee. So the current meeting is on a Tuesday afternoon. The new term, they may change that. But if you're interested, you need to submit no later than like the middle of January, because the appointments committee wants to get going and nominate for the March meeting. So I ask that you consider it and look forward to that consideration. And to the current Labor Contracts Committee, thank you very much for your active support, participation, and great job in the last term. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, as all members have received a copy of the minutes from our October meeting, the reading of those minutes shall be omitted. I do have one proposed change to our minutes, which is Geraldine Rubenstein was marked as attending via Zoom. She was actually in person. That change in the minutes will be noted. Are there any additional proposed changes to the minutes from our October meeting? Hearing none and absent objection, the minutes as amended from the October meeting stand adopted upon unanimous consent. That brings us to the call for our meeting this evening, and things have changed a little bit. So the consent calendar is now going to be items 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16. Item 18, which was the lease for the Thomas Lyons House, is coming off. That is going to become a separate item. That leaves for separate items 9, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. Items 5 and 6 and 12 have been withdrawn. 12 is a new withdrawal that we just heard about, which was the Evelyn Wilson, who is going to the Riverside Building Committee. Okay, so pursuant to our rules, I will designate the following items: 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, 16, 17 to our consent calendar. And if those items remain on our consent calendar, we will have no committee reports, and all you will hear is what I am about to say. What? Oh, I'm sorry, 17. 17 is not on the, it's 16, right. It ends at 18 is not on it. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16. Is that what you got? Okay, good. Okay. Let's see where we have, okay. Item 1 is the nomination of Richard Kaplan to be appointed a regular member of the Board of Nathaniel Witherell for a term expiring June 30th, 2028. Item 2 is the nomination of Michael Bocchino to be a regular member of the Board of Parks and Recreation for a term expiring June 30th, 2028. Item 3 is the appointment of Brad Markowitz to be a regular member of the Board of Nathaniel Witherell for a term expiring June 30th, 2028. Item number 4 is the appointment of Nicholas Macri to be a regular member of the Planning and Zoning Commission for a term expiring October 31st, 2028. Item number 7 is the appointment of Louis Contadino to be a regular member of the Riverside School Building Committee. Item number 8 is the appointment of Brian Finkel to be a regular member of the Riverside School Building Committee. Item number 10 is the appointment of Christina Linden to be a regular member of the Riverside School Building Committee. Item 11 is the appointment of Stefan Pezdek to be a regular member of the Riverside School Building Committee. Item 13 is the appointment of Aaron Leonard to be a regular member of the Condemnation Committee for a term expiring March 30th, 2029. Item 14 is the appointment of Christopher Logano to be a regular member of the Condemnation Commission for a term expiring March 30th, 2029. Item 15 is for the town of Greenwich to accept a gift of 38 election systems and software. Item 16 is resolve to accept a grant of $25,204.50 from the Office of the Secretary of State. This is all registrar voter stuff. Where's that put me? 16. I think that's it. I don't think we have any more because we pulled off 18. Is there any objection to those items on the consent calendar? Okay, Craig, could you please prepare the vote? Yeah, we're looking. Okay. If you're in favor of consent calendar items 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, and 16, you would vote yes. If you are opposed to those, you would vote no. Craig, could you open up the voting clock, please? Has everyone voted who wants to vote? Okay. 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 So we're going to keep it open. Adam Leader and Susan Fahey, do you want to go up to the front and we can see what's going on over there?
That 88?
Yes.
Evans?
Yes. Thank you.
Right there. Jackie, I'm having a problem with this. Yeah, that's what everybody's talking about. Oh, okay. Okay, hang on, let me just read it. Maybe it's just district, maybe it's district 11. D11, there's no Wi-Fi. No, I know this today, but let me see yours. Can you? Yes, let's see if you're.
I don't know either.
Full 9 hours. So if you went on the line. Yeah, I guess so. Okay, I'm in now. You're in. Yeah, I'll go off, right, go off. Wi-Fi. Yeah. Yeah, but I'll do that for you. I should find you that one. Kim will have them. Kim will have them. Do things. I'm gonna see if we can get, I'm gonna see if we can. I'm just gonna see if I can.
Okay, with the exception of the 4 or 5 people who are having difficulty in District 11. Has everyone else voted who would like to vote? Okay. So Craig, we're going to close the vote. And we will add these votes to the vote tally since they have not been registered either through the clicker or the app that they're using. Okay. It came on, Fahey's came on the iPad. Okay. Huh? You what? Or are you gonna have them each vote on the iPad? Okay, so can we close the vote, add those in, and then, okay.
But I have 3 other people that's looking at it. No, you're behind. You want my phone? I kind of need it. No, you can keep the phone. Keep trying. You want to take this? I wouldn't worry about it. That's actually part of what the rules say. If you're online and we can't figure it out, that's why you can't get, we're not lobbying. Who can't get in? Who couldn't go? I told her. If you voted no, Adam, still think. No.
So we're going to show you the vote, including the manually tabulated votes, which are not going to appear on the screen. The vote should be 167 in favor, 1 no, and 1 abstention. Craig, could you please show the vote? So that is, there's some that are not included in there because they're on the tab. So those items have carried. Okay. That now brings us to the first of our separate items, the first of our separate calendar items, which will be item number 9, the nomination of Luigi Gilardi to the Riverside School Building Committee. Who is introducing that resolution for us? Frederick Lee, Chair of our Appointments Committee. Okay.
I resolve that the following named person nominated by the Board of Selectmen be appointed as a regular member of the Riverside School Building Committee, Luigi Giraldi.
Okay. Will a member please move the adoption of the resolution? The resolution has been moved and seconded and is now before us. May we have the reports from the committees that consider this item, beginning with Frederick Lee, Chair of our Appointments Committee.
The Appointments Committee met with Mr. Luigi Giraldi on Tuesday. The vote was 10-0-0. He's a local building contractor, and he has 2 children at the Riverside School.
Thank you. Education Committee, which is Christina Downey as the Vice Chair of Education Committee.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Just to correct the record, he does not have children at Riverside School. We had seen that in the Appointments Committee report, but he told us that his children were at North Miamis at appointments. So all of the candidates for the Riverside School Building Committee came to a joint meeting of Education and Public Works. Following the meeting, the committee met to discuss each of the various candidates, with the members expressing the candidates as individuals had very varied skill sets that would be beneficial to the Riverside Building Committee. A concern was stated amongst the Education Committee meeting that as a collective group, some of the skills required for a successful building committee were lacking. Some members expressed concern about the composition, particularly a lack of town government or building committee experience. Only one of the candidates had served on one building committee. None had served in any other town capacity. There was also a lack of an attorney as one of the members, which prior building committees have had such representation. The committee discussed asking how the Board of Selectmen made the choices, but we did not have a path to do so other than make a statement about the committee's concerns, so no vote was taken on that issue. On Mr. Gilardi, the vote was 8-1-2. The no was because he had not read the ed specs in connection with the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheryl Moss, Chair of our Public Works Committee.
Good evening, Madam Moderator and members. We met with the Education Committee in a joint meeting and met all of the candidates. Mr. Gallardi, as was stated before, is a builder developer in town. He has 7 projects going on in town right now and has experience dealing with different town departments. We went back to our own meeting room to discuss all of the candidates, and we voted on them separately. And when we came to Mr. Gallardi, the concerns were expressed because 7 out of his building projects had 2 wetland violations, which have now been corrected, and a stop work order for another one. He's not been a builder for very long, just 3 years, and prior to this, he was a finance entrepreneur. The members, the vote on this item was 4 in favor, 4 opposed, and 1 abstention. The members who voted no felt that he would not be a particular detriment to the building committee, but rather felt that these issues that he has had with his permitting show a lack of experience, and he also has no experience with institutional projects, which begs the question on what he can contribute to this committee. Members who voted yes felt that as long as he won't hinder the project and he's willing to put in the time commitment, then he should be approved. So that is why that motion failed in our committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, debate on item 9. Is Tom Agresta here? Mr. Agresta, did you want to address this item? Okay. Tom Agresta, a member of District 12.
I'll try to be quick. I think we should approve this person. You know, he's new to town, I believe. Let's give him a shot. Let's see how he does. I think you'd all want that same courtesy. I mean, he had 2 wetland violations. My house had a wetlands violation. It got fixed. He fixed it. You know, if he's going to be I don't want to say that. He may be the low man on the totem pole at the committee. He'll learn. He can then do future things for us. Come on, let's have a heart. Let's not do this. Let's give him a shot. Thanks.
Further debate on this nomination? Okay. Mr. Joe Kelly, come on up to the podium, please.
I would like to add to the education report a little bit. It did seem like it was negative, but it was 8 votes in favor, 1 vote against. So I didn't share the same negativity towards this person, nor did most of the people in the education that the report might have expressed. So I would be in favor of supporting this candidate.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to add anything about this nomination before I call for the vote? Okay, I'm going to call for the vote. Craig, could you please post the District 11? Are you voting with your card right now, or are you going to try? Some of you are. Okay, thank you. Okay. Item 9 is the appointment of Luigi Girardi to the Riverside School Building Committee. If you're in favor of this nomination, you would vote yes. If you are opposed, you would vote no. You will have some amount of time on the clock, and we'll find out what happens with District 11 before we close it.
He's a no.
Oop, what is all? They're having to close it out. No. Can we close it out? And, yeah. And,
wasn't reloading to the next one. Now I don't have my iPad at work, so I.
It worked on the iPad, but I tried logging in on my phone again, and this time it came out.
Everybody's okay.
On the next time, maybe the next one, do this one?
Is the other meeting?
Ingrid. Let me go, I don't know. Maybe. Let me go, I'll go ask her.
Okay. Oh, but he's in.
Relaunching the app.
Are we okay with our? Is anyone in 11 coming back with an iPad or anything? Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. I apologize for the delay. Has everyone voted that would like to vote? Okay, we're going to close the vote. According to the voting record, it's 115 yes, 30 opposed with 20 abstentions. May I ask, before I show that, are there any votes that were counted by cards on this one that will potentially change that? Okay, so it was 115, 30, 20. That item has carried. Craig, can you just show that, please? Okay, that item has carried. That now brings us to item 17, I believe, which is the $180,000 for software. Who is introducing that item for us? Kate Bush, Town Administrator.
Good evening. We are asking to consider and act upon the following resolution. Resolved that the sum of $180,000 be and the same is hereby appropriated to be added to the following account. $180,000 to Z105-59090 Capital Non-Recurring Online Permitting Project.
Yes, thank you very much. Will a member please move the adoption of the resolution? The resolution has been moved and seconded and is now before us. May we have the reports from the committees that considered this item, beginning with Josh Brown of our Town Services Committee?
Madam Moderator, fellow members and guests, we had 7 districts voting. The vote was 5-0. We had Kate Bush and Jim Michaels presenting on the item. It says indicated an upgrade on existing software that is used for permitting and tracking of that, also for plan reviews. The appropriation includes adding a piece of software to facilitate that so they can actually mark up the plans electronically. They're going to be expanding the use, and one of the key features that was discussed was making it more easy for town residents and contractors and the electricians and whatnot to be able to submit their permit requests, track them online, see where they are, submit all their paperwork, and it would be an efficiency activity as well. That, you know, less back and forth. If you all gone through the permitting process, you need a lot of different pieces of paper, a lot of different affirmations of things, and if you forget one, then you have to go back and, you know, chase it down. So our committee found that that was a benefit. Question that we asked was why now? Mr. Michaels indicated that something that's been called out in the town survey as in great need of improvement. That's the permitting process. The cost is reasonable as the timing also is a good time to do it because their permits, the number of permits coming in are dropping. This is a quiet time of year, so that they'll be able to allocate staff and resources to do the implementation and preparation for when the wave gets going later in the year. They did check with a number of towns in the area, some of which that are using this software, some are using others. There wasn't a really compelling concern to go to a different software. It wasn't a formal process, but they did, I'll say, kick the tires. Public will still be able, contractors still be able to come to the front desk to submit paperwork, so that won't change. But again, the encouragement is be able to meet people where they are, and if they want to submit online, they'll be able to do so. The fees are for initial setup training and implementation. The current maintenance cost is around $29,000. And again, the expectation is there'll be efficiencies out of this. The vote was 5-0. Those against were concerned that it did not go through an RFP process. It wasn't a formal activity from that to evaluate its benefits, and the concern of why now, why out of the normal budget process. 5-0.
Thank you. James Waters, Chairman of our Budget Overview Committee.
All right, good evening. The Budget Overview Committee voted 1-11-0 on this item. We had the town administrator provide an overview. She explained that the funding will enable the town to expand the use of the Municity and City Squared software with the goal of making it easier for residents and contracts to file and track permits. She explained that the software is currently used in varying degrees by DPW, P&Z, Wetlands, and the Health Department. The additional funding, as Mr. Brown said, will expand usage within these departments and cover other departments. The town's use of this software stems from an RFP in 2018. It was discussed that no additional RFP was done for the current expansion. The town administrator also explained that the Office of First Selectman wanted to kick off this project as soon as possible, so was seeking an interim rather than having this as part of the budget process. She highlighted this is a collective effort among the departments. So BOC members cited the following 4 factors in their vote to reject this item. First, many felt that the current resident experience with Municity City Squared is quite poor, so found it difficult to support further expansion of the platform without evaluating alternatives. Second, several members felt that if the town's decentralized on a single system of record, the project should be done in the context of a holistic review of other IT systems, and there should be a single champion to ensure adoption across town departments. Third, members felt that given the speed of technology evolution in the 7 years since the initial selection of Municity, an RFP or similar comparison should be provided prior to moving forward with a proper comparison with at least one other option for both Municity and DigiPlan. Fourth, members felt that a project of this scope should be included in the budget rather than through an interim. After its meeting, BOC received a written explanation from Jim Michael, the Commissioner of Public Works, as to the importance of the interim. Mr. Michael explained that he's been actively working to update the convenience and technology of DPW's processes, working across departments, and felt the winter months were the right time, given the lighter permitting demands. and the significant time for more fulsome implementation. BOC didn't hear from Mr. Michael at its meeting as the town administrator was the only proponent listed in the call materials. BOC also received a 2022 internal audit report related to Municity and a 2025 internal audit of the Health Department. Some of the recommendations in those audit reports are consistent with the concerns identified by BOC members, and it wasn't clear in our meeting whether those issues were fully incorporated in the process and planning for the current expansion on the table. I did offer BOC members the opportunity to convene a special meeting to reconsider these additional items, but members did not express interest in doing that. A couple members did reiterate that they thought this item would be better served as part of the upcoming budget process. As such, BOC's vote on this item was 1-11-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Greg Zorthian, Chair of our Finance Committee.
Good evening. Madam Moderator, fellow RTM members, guests, and visitors. The Finance Committee took up item 17 on Monday, December 1st, attending with Kate Bush, Town Administrator, and Jim Michaels, the head of DPW. We had the advantage of reviewing the item several days after the BOC meeting, and several of the Finance Committee members were present at that meeting. This allowed us to address some of the BOC concerns. Our first area of discussion was, why do we need this upgrade now? We were told that the current permitting system needs to be enhanced to include more Town of Greenwich departments and to become more user-friendly, both for the permit applicants as well as the Greenwich employees. This upgrade would allow applicants to do more of the required paperwork remotely and make the permitting process more digital. Currently, Greenwich's permitting system is one of the least robust systems in the state of Connecticut. Our second area of concern was, why do an upgrade and why not do an RFP for a full system review? The RFP process would push this project out 3 or 4 years. One of our committee members, a former software engineer, noted that this is not the time to change platforms. He said that with the potential advances offered by AI, the town should wait 3 to 5 years before considering a change in platforms. Finally, we discussed the timing of the request and why wasn't this part of next year's budget rather than as an interim. We were told that the upcoming winter season was the ideal time to do this work, as permitting volume is down during the winter and the department has the capacity to do the upgrade now. The concern is, if we wait to put this request in next year's budget, the town would lose 1 to 2 years in making these much needed improvements. The Finance Committee vote was 9-1-2, with the request being, with District 5 voting no and District 7 and 12 abstaining. The reasons for those no votes and for the abstention was all three felt that the request should be part of the budget.
Thank you. Cheryl Moss, Chair of our Public Works Committee.
Good evening, everyone. I don't really need to add much after these last reports covered everything. The only thing I'll add is that 2 of the really interesting things that are coming out of this new software update, or not update, but addition, is that the plans will be able to be marked up where people can look online and see exactly what the issues are. And they're not going to have to come into town hall every single time. They can discuss these things sort of in real time online. And the other thing is they're going to be getting these large monitors so that they can have the entire blueprint or plan up on the screen at once, and they're not going to have to scroll around from one little part of it and having to move it around. and just it'll hopefully speed up the process for everybody. But Public Works voted 7-0-2 with districts 2 and 5 abstaining. The abstentions were largely because of the process not following the normal budgeting on this issue. But we basically had the same discussion as finance did. So it passed our committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Debate on item 17. Is Peter Cruikshank here? Come on down. You've signed up to speak.
So I'm Peter Cruikshank, District 8 on the Finance Committee. I encourage you to vote yes on this request. Implementing this software upgrade will greatly improve the experience for everyone involved in the permitting process, the builders, the architects, the contractors, residents, and of course the staff. 3 points. Number one, the current City Square software, which is really just for requesting inspections and seeing where your inspections are, it's clunky. It's hard to navigate. I know I had to use it. But I met with Jim Michael on Friday and I looked at the new software. The new software is a modern, sleek, modular design. In short, it's not clunky, it's state of the art. Second, what's going to happen now is the entire process is going to be online. For instance, this is one of the many, many paper forms people have to fill out. There's 7 different departments on here. There's about 25 boxes you have to check off. There's forms paper forms you have to put in. All that's going to be online. And by the way, if you forget to put one of the forms that required, the software is going to pop up and say, hey, you forgot the XYZ form. So it's going to be straight through and automated. And it'll be automatically, instead of having to walk around town hall and go to these offices and wait in line, you'll be able, it'll route immediately to the departments for approval. And right now, virtually all plans coming into, let's say, planning and zoning and whatever, they're requiring them to do digitally. The building department doesn't. So what the builders have to do is print out the blueprints, roll them up, bring them down to town hall, they get tagged and put in these enormous rooms and stored. Let's move this process into the 21st century. Please vote yes on this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to add to the debate on this item before I call for the vote? Oh, for sure. I think that's Mr. Agresta again. Can't tell. Yes, it is. It is Tom Agresta.
I'll be quick as I was the last time. Yeah, I think we should do this. I mean, I must have had 5, 6 permits through town over the years, and it's so much better if I'm able to do it online. I do it with other things that I would work and all. This makes sense. And I think we should also back Jim because, he's, as you all know, he's new and he's busting through doors with this. He's given us something we really need if you're going to put a permit in. So please support it. Thank you.
Thank you. You've been a busy bee, wetlands violations and permitting. Yeah. All right. I don't know. No, this is a recorded meeting. I don't think you want to say that publicly, whatever your problem is. All right. Is there anyone else that would like to add to this debate in a material way? Okay. Craig, could we please call for the vote? Okay. If you are in favor of the $180,000 appropriation for the software upgrade, you would vote yes. If you are opposed, you would vote no. You will again have some amount of time, depending on how the app is doing, to cast your vote.
That was an easy one.
Okay. Has-
Yeah, the action. Put a snap. What do you book? Yes, no. What am I going to do? You know it? I'll put it in my phone. No. Here we go. E9. E9. That's not refreshing to the next row.
I think Greg is waiting. Oh, he's in. Greg, your clicker's in. Is everyone else in District? Okay. District 11, you're okay? Okay, okay. All right. We are going to close the vote. Okay, I have the vote on item 17. Those in favor, 129, opposed 33, abstaining 9. That item has carried. Craig, could you please show the vote? Okay, there you go. That now brings us to item 18, which is a lease with the Greenwich Preservation Trust for the Thomas Lyon House. May we have Ms. Bush, are you going to introduce that?
Sure.
Okay. Kate Bush, our town administrator for item 18.
Good evening again. This time we'd ask that you pass the following resolution. Resolved that the RTM approves the lease with the Greenwich Preservation Trust Incorporated for the property located at 760 West Putnam Avenue, also known as 1 Byram Road, containing the historic Thomas Lyon House.
Thank you very much. Will a member please move the adoption of the resolution? The resolution has been moved and seconded and is now before us. May we have the reports from the committees that considered this item? Who would like to go first? Mr. Quigley, Chair of our Land Use Committee, what could be your final presentation before us, no?
The last at bat, I think this is
Yeah,
right.
the last step at.
Is Bob Stanley warming up?
I don't.
Bring him in.
Yeah,
I don't need to do anything.
that's true.
Thank you, Madam Moderator, fellow RTM members. The Land Use Committee did take this item up. We had Andrew Melillo there from the Historic Society, and he spoke to us about the significance of the Thomas Lyon House, what it means to the town, and gave us some really interesting facts. It's built in the 1600s, so it's one of the oldest properties in the town of Greenwich. It has significant historic value. It actually was part of the Underground Railroad, which I did not know, which makes it really resonate, I think, with our community, with the significance of that. And basically, he made a really compelling case that this is something we should all get behind. The Historic Society in Greenwich has put a lot of time and effort into preserving our history and making sure that, with all the development in the town, that certain pieces of our history that are significant and have significant value to all of us maintain their structural and historical integrity. So as always, he made a fantastic case for that. We voted unanimously to support this and pass it. 12-0-0.
Thank you. Who's going next? Kip Bergweger with the report from our Legislative and Rules Committee.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Members of the RTM, public officials and guests. The Legislative and Rules met last Monday evening to take up this item. We were assisted by Laura McGeechee, Assistant Town Attorney, Margaret Conboy with the Greenwich Preservation Trust, and Karen Fasuliotis on the BET Law Committee. Ms. McGeechee and Ms. Conboy explained that the Greenwich Trust was established only almost 20 years ago, primarily to preserve the Lion House. It was at that point owned by, well, at that point and still is owned by the town, but it was not consistently maintained or cared for. The lease will allow the Greenwich Preservation Trust to restore and protect the house, which is what they described in fair to poor condition, and develop programming supported by their fundraising efforts. As it noted before, the house is one of the oldest, unaltered colonial structure in Greenwich. The lease that we looked at is based on a town template with language similar to leases approved by the RTM in recent years. In this case, it took several years to negotiate the lease because initially the trust wished to lease only the building and have the town maintain the remainder of the property. Ultimately, it was decided to be in the best interest of the town to allow the trust to lease the entire parcel with the building. There is currently an application for a preliminary site plan before the Planning and Zoning Commission, which is contingent on approval of the lease. Once the lease is final, that can be resubmitted, the application for a final site plan, and that plan involves landscaping, drainage improvements, parking, ADA access, and, glory, a curb cut on Route 1. Now, the runoff relating to a drainage easement on an adjacent parcel has damaged the foundation in recent years, and the trust has coordinated repairs. They have existing funds to get through the approval process and donors ready to support the project once approvals are in place. It was noted that there's been ongoing fundraising since the trust was established, and the board includes a number of longtime town volunteers that have extensive experience in preservation, architecture, and town government. Now we get to the thing that Legislative Rules does best. We found Scrivener's errors. Karen Fasuliotis noted that some of the language in the lease could be misinterpreted when the trust is seeking approval that would require the town to give that approval. That language was revised. There was another provision which didn't make any sense as written, and that has been revised. Those changes appear in the report by the Legislative and Rules Committee that was sent out to all the members of the RTM, so I will not read them unless somebody really is desperate to hear them.
No, I think that at the appropriate time, we'll take up those proposed Scrivener changes, which will likely be done upon unanimous consent.
Okay. One of the members of our committee asked whether the lease and insurance were regularly reviewed, because this is a 99 lease plus option to extend, and the insurance is specific now. 37 years and 48 years and 59 years from now, will that be good? We were not in a position to dictate policy, but it was asked that that we could check with the risk manager. And Joan Lynch, the controller, who appeared on the next item, looked into this, and we've learned that each town department that is responsible for a lease is also responsible for requesting the tenant certificates of insurance on an annual basis. Then all the policies can be reviewed by the department that is leasing that property and that is able to monitor it annually. The vote on, well, first of all, we voted on the amendments. Those were all approved unanimously. Then we voted on legal order and the merits as amended. The vote was 9-0-0. Districts 2, 7, and 10 were absent.
Thank you. Mr. Bergwegger, don't go too far because I'll have you offer those amendments in a moment. Greg Zorthian, Chair of our Finance Committee.
Finance took this up and there was a minimal amount of discussion. The only question we really had was, did the Preservation Trust have enough money to adequately manage the property and keep it up in good condition? They said they were fundraising and were confident they were going to be able to do it. Our vote on this was 11-0-0.
Thank you. Mr. Bergwegger, would you like to offer your Scrivener's errors on behalf of the committee? Or would you like? Yes, you would, right?
Well, I will give you what we have in
Okay.
section 4.4. I'll read the language that is there. Any other activity proposed for the premises related to GPT'(S) mission other than those set forth in this section requires prior, and then we insert the words review and, then back to the text, permission from the town, which delete the word permission and insert the word review shall, and then we go on without any further changes to that section. Section 11.1 provides GPT shall not sublet the demised premises or any portion thereof, nor shall the lease be assigned without and insert the words review of and, continue, prior written consent of the town, which, delete the word consent, insert the word review, shall not be unreasonably withheld or delayed. Section 13.4 provides, in the event of a default by GPT under this lease, the town shall have the right of injunction and the right to invoke any remedy allowed at law or in equity. We then delete all the rest, which is as if entry, summary process, or other remedies were where not provided for. The word would have been were, but it was where with a typo, which led us to all these other changes.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of legislative rules, I move that these changes be made.
Great. Those being offered on behalf of a committee do not require a second. Does anyone object to those small Scrivener's changes being proposed by legislative rules? We can adopt it by unanimous consent. Okay, hearing none, those stand adopted by unanimous consent. And Mr. Bergwegger, I would like to thank you and your legislative and rules colleagues for their keen eye and always finding what seem to be minor changes, but they are substantive in nature ultimately when it comes to the language. We now have, I believe Jay Medhurst is prepared to offer an amendment that is material that was not taken up by legislative and rules.
Madam Moderator, I'll be offering an amendment to amend the language of section 9.2 of the lease to add this copy. Insurance coverages required under this article shall automatically adjust every 5 years at a rate commensurate with the Consumer Price Index as published by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Thank you. That being offered on behalf of amender does require a second. May I have a second? That item has been moved and seconded and is now before us. Mr. Medhurst, would you like to explain the history of how we got here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The chairman referred to the conversation we had at LNR, and the concern that came up was that with a 99-year lease, the reality is this lease is probably going to be put in a drawer, and no one's going to think about it again until a few of us are getting champagne up there. And keeping the coverage amounts as they are 20, 40, 50, 60 years from now would open a lot of potential exposure in the future. Thankfully, we had the new comptroller, Mrs. Lynch, at the meeting, and she agreed to look into if there were any procedures in town to regularly review the lease and automatically or in any way bump it up to keep it in line with inflation. She provided guidance that the town has, but unfortunately does not cover this potential eventuality. The procedure that she shared with us does require that there's an annual comparison and verification of the lease. So if the lease requires $5 million of coverage, the town will confirm, yes, the GPT in this case has that amount, and they will verify, yes, the insurance is active and so forth. But it doesn't do anything to make sure that that required amount is increasing with inflation. And that's the main concern with this being such a long lease.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to add to the debate on this item? Okay. Craig, could we take a vote? It's the Medhurst Amendment. Yep. Okay, this is item 18, the Medhurst Amendment, which, as you heard Mr. Medhurst just explain, it's adding some additional language to the lease section 2.9.2. If you are in favor of the language you have just heard, and I believe many of you have already received it because Mr. Medhurst was very good about sharing it in advance to everyone, you would vote yes. If you're opposed, you would vote no. Craig, could you open up the vote? All right, it looks like District 11 is getting up again. All right, well, come up.
Did that. Now try it. You're good. You're the one. Okay, you're good. You can force split. To be a four, don't split it, and then you lock it in. Do you refresh? Oh. Yeah.
Turn them off? Did you put stuff out? I didn't think this one. No, if you want me to, I don't.
And then we found the clicker will work is force play again. Yeah, if I put
No, no. Get rid of, and then to get the liquor. For everyone else, let's just. Force with the out. Okay. There you go. Yeah.
I think it's a dead zone over there for 11. I think that's good to know. You get it, Tracy? Yeah.
Right. Is that an iPhone? You know, like, oh. Okay. Okay.
Everybody in from 11 that needs to get in? Okay, we're going to close the vote then. Okay, I have the vote on the Medhurst Amendment. Those in favor, 157, opposed 5, abstaining 5. That amendment has carried. So thank you, Mr. Medhurst, for chasing that down and realizing that that was an important thing to include. I do appreciate that. So now, as we move into general debate, this item will come as amended. Andrew Malella, would you like to address the body? Because we're in the general debate and you are the only person who signed up to speak so far.
Andrew Malillo. I'm the president of the Greenwich Preservation Trust. Been a long time coming for this one. The trust was founded in 2008. Joe Conboy's child, really, and Thomas Lionhouse. The first part of the house was from 1690s. We're trying to preserve something that represents religious diversity in the town of Greenwich, the Underground Railroad. And so this is the first part of it. Once we have the lease, we'll finish up hopefully successfully with the planning and zoning, and then we'll hit the ground running with getting this place accessible for everyone to enjoy in town and bring it into the vision of the Gateway for New England, which was a Lion Descendants vision for it a long time ago. So that's our hope for this successful lease, and we look forward to your support.
Thank you. Anyone else want to add anything to this item before we call for the vote? Okay. You can add as amended if you can add it. I'm sure that District 11 will have some more tech issues anyway, so what's 30 seconds to add as amended? Okay. Okay. Good job. Item 18 is the Thomas Lyon House lease, Greenwich Preservation Trust as amended to include the Medhurst Amendment. If you are in favor of that item, you would vote yes. If you are opposed, you would vote no. Craig, can you open the vote? Okay. Has everyone voted that would like to cast their vote? Ms. Fahey, is everything okay over in 11? Okay. We're going to go with that. We're going to roll with that then. Craig, can you please close the vote? Okay, so I have the vote on item 18 as amended. Those in favor, 165, opposing 1, abstaining 0. That item has carried. Craig, can you please show the vote? Okay, there you go. Okay, that now brings us to our next separate item, which is item number 19. Who is reading that? Oh, Ben Branyan from the Board of Education.
Resolved that the sum of $5,319,500 be and the same is hereby appropriated to the added to the following account B 680-0289-59560. This is for the Hamilton Avenue HVAC replacement.
Thank you. Will a member please move the adoption of that resolution? The resolution has been moved and seconded and is now before us. May we have the committee reports from the committees that considered this item, beginning with James Waters, Chair of our Budget Overview Committee.
All right, good evening. The Budget Overview Committee voted 11-0-1 on this interim appropriation to fix the geothermal system at Hamilton Avenue School. We did have Ben Branyan provide BOC an overview. He reminded BOC that the RTM approved the A&E funding for this project in June 2025, and that he'd previously briefed BOC that tax credits and grants had been explored but were not available for the project. Mr. Branyan highlighted that GPS is ready to go out to bid on the project after Thanksgiving, and construction funds are required to award the contract. Mr. Branyan, when asked about this being an interim appropriation, said he felt the current RTM should consider this item given its history and initiative on this issue. It was mentioned the original estimate in January 2025 was $4.9 million, which is a $2,500 delta from the amount being requested for construction due to the construction oversight costs that are now included. An interim appropriation is being sought to ensure the work can be completed before the start of the next school year. A delay in approving the construction funding would likely mean the project cannot be completed by the end of the summer 2026. BOC members were reminded that the cost of the temporary chillers being rented at Ham Ave is approximately $25,000 per month. If the interim appropriation is approved, the contract would be awarded in January or February 2026. Contractors mobilized in April and work completed by September. Mr. Branyan said he feels confident the project will be delivered under budget. He cited things like $100,000 of cost savings by purchasing equipment directly rather than through the contractor. We did have one abstention on this item from District 10 saying she wanted a firm bid prior to the item coming to the RTM and was told this item would be subject to tax credits or grants. Those voting yes felt it was time after 2 years of discussion on this topic to put this issue behind us. They felt it would be even more costly not to approve the interim due to the ongoing monthly cost for the chillers. I'm going to quickly cite this RTM this RTM has discussed this item a bunch of times. Here are the votes of the times we've discussed this topic or things directly related to this. December 2023, so the last RTM, there was a motion to postpone this item to January. That vote was 146-21-2. In January 2024, the start of this term, the vote there was a vote to reduce funding being sought for a conventional system. That vote was to reduce it to $411,000. That vote was 203-5-1. In April 2024, we passed this SOMR on net zero. The vote was 157 in support, 25 opposed, 4 abstentions. This past May, the RTM voted 180-17-9 to cut the conventional HVAC system that the BET had put into the budget. And in June 2025, the design funding for this was included in the consent calendar. The consent calendar passed 177-03. Thank you.
Thank you. Christina Downey, Vice Chair of our Education Committee.
Thank you. The Education Committee met as a joint meeting with Public Works. Present were Ben Branyan, the Chief Financial and Administrative Officer, along with Dan Watson, who's the Director of Facilities for Greenwich Public Schools. There was discussion about using the existing well field, which is in good condition, to install the new mechanical system. The system is projected to save approximately $158,000 over a conventional system. And while the project costs have increased, as Mr. Waters said, there's been inflation, and apparently federal incentives are not available for the project, which people had believed they were due to the reuse of the well field, as opposed to an entirely new project. As Mr. Waters said, the plan would be for them to begin in mid-April, conclude by September, so there would be minimal disruption to the students. There would be a 3-year maintenance contract for support and training of the Greenwich Public Schools staff who are going to maintain the system, and the new mechanics will be much easier to operate than the original system, and Mr. Watson was fully on board with the project. The vote was 11-0-0 with District 10 absent.
Thank you. Cheryl Moss, Chair of our Public Works Committee.
Good evening. There's no need to repeat what was just reported from the joint meeting we had with Education. The vote for Public Works was 9-0-0 by unanimous consent, and comments being, it's about time, let's get it done.
Thank you. And last but certainly not least, Greg Zorthian with the Finance Committee report.
Finance met with Ben Brannion and Dan Watson. Don't have much to add except for 2 things. One is any money, we were concerned a bit about the $515,000 design contingency fund. Any money that is not spent on this project goes back to the town. It does not go into the Board of Ed. So that made us feel a little better. We also asked Mr. Brannion to brief the Finance Committee after the bids were selected and update us on the finances of this. We expect to get a memo from him in March on this. Our vote was 11-0-0.
Thank you. Okay, debate on item 19. Mark Fichtel, did you want to come up and offer your comments?
Thank you, Madam Moderator, and RTM members and guests. I would absolutely support a new Hamilton Avenue School HVA system if it were a conventional system, but I oppose replacing the failed geothermal system with another geothermal system. And I recognize that given all the RTM votes, Somers and otherwise that were just reviewed, and also the votes of the committees, that there's a lot of support for it. And one of the concerns I have is that right now we're facing a situation where we're subject to the sunk cost fallacy, which says that because we've invested so much time, we have to go forward regardless of any risks. And I'm going to make some points about some dangers that I see here, but I feel a little bit like Cassandra, who begged the Trojans not to bring the wooden horse into the walls, but I'm going to talk about some issues. One is I am opposed to betting $5.3 million when the AECOM consultants report, which some see as the final validation for choosing the geothermal system, actually can't settle on a reason for the failure of the current system, but lists 4 possible reasons that they suspect may have been the cause for the failure. In fact, the executive summary clearly states, quote, "The cause for the system failures cannot be completely determined." Secondly, AECOM clearly states that real-time testing to validate their conclusions wasn't possible. So they only used models and simulations, not actual data, to develop their conclusions. AECOM admits that numerous scenarios could cost more money than their estimates assume. And while the $4.6 million estimate for a geothermal system, which is about $120,000 more than for a conventional system, is there, they have a major qualifier where they say the estimate is subject to performance testing, which is a little bit scary. The estimate for the geothermal system as noted, will save $158,000 over 25 years. That's about $6,300 a year. But it's based on a wide range of guesses as to energy maintenance and the initial costs being as expected. Finally, I'd note that Greenwich has 2 mechanics to service HVAC systems at 15 schools and 2 other buildings, all of which are conventional systems. The mechanics are going to be trained on the new geothermal system, but this does raise additional risks. And I would just say, I'm really concerned that by going geothermal, we could put ourselves in a position of ending up confirming the old line that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anyone else care to add anything to the debate? Okay. Craig, I'm going to call for the vote on this. This is item 19, $5,319,500 for the Hamilton Avenue HVAC. Okay. If you are in favor of this appropriation, you would vote yes. If you are opposed, you would vote no. You'll have, can you open the clock, Craig? Thank you very much. Everyone voted that would like to vote? Oh, we've got an issue in 11. Okay, why don't you come up and we'll try and resolve it as quickly as possible. Richard, you're locked in. Tracy, are you? Tracy, you're already registered as well. Okay. Is it spreading to District 12? Huh? Yeah, I don't know if we'll. Yeah, you're there. You're on, Richard. Oh.
It's not updating what I'm voting on, but it's yeah.
I don't even,
There, not log out, that's actually. Not log out, yeah.
I can go on.
That's why I'm, when you reach the internet, then almost quick, yes. Like something, sick apps, even though you're running the internet, never. Wrong, it should not be happening, but that seems to fix it. I mean, they told me they updated the app and that's, but it's the app that's fine. So like, just don't use the app, use that. They should, yes, they just don't even know. Yeah, what's missing.
Great, can you, yeah.
Did you get it?
okay, I think we've resolved it. For those of you who are on this side of the room, District 11 is trying to pilot this app and we apparently have a Wi-Fi dead spot over there. So go back. Yeah, we'll add that to the budget. Okay. All right. Craig, can we close the vote? Okay, so I have the vote on item 19. Those in favor, 142, opposed 18, abstaining 6. That appropriation and item has carried. Craig, could you please show the vote? Okay, there you go. Now, we come to the bonding resolution for this item, which, as you know, will require a minimum of 116 to pass. It does require a majority of the full membership. Who is reading that into the record? Mr. Waters? Why don't you come to the front? I have a copy of it if you want it. You got it? I have the bonding resolution. Come on. Here.
So this is item 20 to consider and act upon the following resolution requested by the Board of Estimate and Taxation, a resolution authorizing the issuance of $5,319,500 bonds of the town, and the rest as it appears on the call.
Thank you very much. Will a member please move the adoption of the resolution? The resolution has been moved and adopted and moved and seconded and is now before us. May we have the reports from the committees that considered this? Do you have anything else to add to the bonding resolution?
VOC did take this up. We voted 12-0-0 on the bonding resolution. Here, we had Joan Lynch, the Chief Financial Officer and Controller of the Town of Greenwich, provide an overview. She did highlight that it's important to consider the merits of item 19 separate from item 20, given that this it directs the town how to finance the project, whether via cash or bond issuance. She said that, for example, even if a member is against the prior item and it passes as it did, a failure of the bonding resolution would mean the town uses cash to finance the project. Ms. Lynch said she believes bonding is the most appropriate way to finance a project of this size. She did also tell us that the town's financing costs are around 2.3 to 2.5%, and any unused bonding would be returned by not rolling into another one-year bond anticipation note. Our vote was 12-0-0. Thanks.
Thank you. Greg Zorthian, Chair of our Finance Committee.
Ditto. Finance voted 11-0-0.
Eh. Kip Bergweger. Are you going to keep the streak alive, Mr. Bergweger?
I'm going to apologize for my non-ditto. Yes, we were also helped by Joan Lynch, the comptroller. And then what I did was I just looked at the language of the bond and compared it to two or three ones in the past year and a half that RTM has adopted, which are literally word for word the same, except for the item and the amount of money. And all of those were for educational school work. So this is exactly written the way it should be.
Thank you very much.
The vote was unanimous.
Christina Downey, Vice Chair of the Education Committee.
Education voted 11-0-0 with District 10 absent.
Thank you. Cheryl Moss, Chair of our Public Works Committee.
Public Works was also unanimous consent, 9-0-0.
Thank you. All right, I don't believe anyone has signed up to debate the merits of bonding for this item, so I'm going to call for the vote. Craig, could you please prepare the vote for item 20, which is the bonding resolution? And again, it does require a majority of the entire membership, so at least 116 to pass. Okay, the vote should now be open. If you're in favor, you would vote yes. If you're opposed, you would vote no. Again, with 116 required to pass. Has everyone voted who would like to cast their vote? Is that, dare I ask, why you are standing up in District 11? Ooh.
And you do it.
I could do, I mean, try that. But what about Tanner? Oh, him. There you go.
It's a can. Or yours is one. Mine is, oh, first try. Oh, I didn't. Okay, so then now. Yeah, that's first. We did, yeah.
You can move around. Yeah.
The other option, I think is like, but how do you get out? With your rule. Or whatever.
I can vote for one of them.
But yeah, but force it out of it.
Yeah, I can vote for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, now it's work.
Wait, you were, okay. I'm just trying to see.
All right,
Where's- oh,
I
right.
voted. Take it. Just, make sure you popped up. Great.
Francie's up. Okay. 11, are you okay over there? Everybody okay? Yes, 12, where the problem seems to be migrating back to, it's okay? Okay, we're gonna, I see a thumbs up from the future chair of, or the new chair of the district, Jonathan Cantor, I guess. Okay, we're gonna close the vote. Okay, I have the vote on the bonding resolution for the HVAC. Those in favor, 149, opposed 2, abstaining 10. That item has carried. Craig, can you please show the vote? Okay. That now brings us to item 21, which is the SOMER for the position of moderator and moderator pro tem. And reading that will be introducing that resolution will be Victoria Martin Young from District 6.
Resolved that it is the sense of this meeting that candidates for moderator and moderator pro tem of the 2026-2027 representative town meeting file their names with a brief statement of their qualifications with the town clerk on or before noon of December 26, 2025 for inclusion in the call of the January 20th, 2026 meeting.
Thank you. Will a member please move the adoption of that resolution? The resolution has been moved and seconded and is now before us. May we have the report from the Legislative and Rules Committee, which did consider this item?
Legislative and Rules wants to thank Victoria Martin Young because she's the one who brought this to us and was the one who helped us analyze it. She explained that the sense of this meeting resolution has been submitted to the RTM by petition every December since 2011. She reminded our committee that a recent effort to make the submission of moderator and moderator pro tem intent a permanent rule, and that had been rejected by the RTM. It is also to be emphasized that a SOMER does not prohibit any candidates being nominated from the floor or declaring their intention informally after the closing of the December call. However, if we go forward with this, we will have to take a vote to waive the second read rule, and Legislative Rules will make that motion, which we'll do right now. We move to waive the second read rule as it applies to this item.
Okay, that motion being offered on behalf of a committee does not require a second. A motion to suspend the rules is not debatable and does require a 2/3 majority to pass. So we're going to try something that we haven't done in ages, which is we're going to try a voice vote, okay? And if more than a third oppose, then we will go to a record vote. But let's try it by voice vote first, okay? All those in favor of suspending the second rules, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that item has carried. Okay, so we will now move forward. I'm sorry. Mr. Harris, do you really believe that 77 people said no? I mean, we can do it another way. Would you like to do a standing vote? Okay, okay. So we are going to get a record vote. I'm sorry, we're going to call for the vote on this item now. Okay. Unless there's anyone that would like to debate it. Is there any debate on this item? Would anyone like to debate it? Okay.
I can sit down.
You can sit down, Mr. Unless you have anything else, Mr. Bergweger, that you would like to offer. Okay. So SOMER non-binding resolution for the moderator pro tem to file names before 12 noon on December 26th for inclusion in the January 20th, 2026 call packet. If you're in favor of that, you would vote yes. If you are opposed, you would vote no. Could you please open the vote? And while this is going on, I would like to thank everyone for their participation this evening, and I wish you all a very happy holidays because I know that when the vote opens, you tend to scurry up and drop off your clicker. So I want to make sure I get that in before you scamper off. Okay. I don't even know if you're going to know if you voted because you're all scampering about, but I'm going to assume that everyone who's voted has already submitted their vote, or anyone who wants to vote. So I'm going to close the vote. Okay, I have the vote on the Somer. Just hang on for a second if you can just be quiet so we can announce that. Those in favor, 110, opposed 30, abstaining 5. That Somer item has carried. There being no further business this evening, this meeting stands adjourned, and I wish you all a very happy holidays, and we will see you in 2026.